Hi, I'm Lotte. I'm an Australian mezzo-soprano, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Fable Arts Solos series. My piece for the Fable Arts Solos series, Four White Walls, takes its title from one of the featured works in the film recital. It's a choral work, which I've multi-tracked by the Australian composer Brett Dean, who happens to also be my dad. And it's set to a text by the Indigenous Australian poet Debbie Barban. And it explores the experience of being sort of stuck in a room. In Debbie's case, it's rather more dramatic than the kind of stuck in the room that we've been experiencing over the past 18 months. It's rather more of a kind of imprisonment. But nevertheless, the text sort of resonated with me through the circumstance that was sort of shared in a way of this experience of being stuck physically inside a house during lockdown, but also beyond that, a little bit of a sense of feeling perhaps almost stuck within your own head. And certainly, even in recent months, this feeling of struggling to perhaps get back out into the world and get back into reintegrating into society and socializing, as I know some people have experienced that as well. So in a way, this sort of sense of being within the four white walls is ongoing sometimes. And I suppose with the concept of the film recital, I wanted to explore that idea through music, through these texts within the pieces, but also, I suppose, more personally, in terms of the experience of being alone with my own voice, with one's own instrument. As a solo singer, I don't often get an opportunity to actually create concerts completely by myself. Usually I'm accompanied by an instrument or an ensemble or an orchestra. So this project really gave me an opportunity to sort of also be within four white walls, alone as an artist, as a musician, exploring my vocal identity through solo voice repertoire, but also beyond that to multi-tracking with myself in one room, sort of becoming my own vocal ensemble, which was sort of a really interesting element of this as well. So I suppose it's literally the sense of being stuck in a room. It's literally also the title of a piece in the concert, and the experience that is shared in that poem. But yeah, I suppose more figuratively, it's also the sense of also being at peace with being a singer, exploring my own voice in this way. This project does differ a little bit from a more standard solo voice or vocal performance or concert. Firstly, in that it's quite unusual to incorporate both multi-tracked recordings of the same voice as well as unaccompanied solo voice repertoire. And this is the first time that I've used multi-tracking as part of a more formal film recital or performance experience. I sort of played around a little bit with multi-tracking during lockdown, exploring some non-classical repertoire, but that was a bit more sort of for fun. And I realized that we have the technology now whereby I could sort of create these multi-layered recordings of essentially choral repertoire, but using just my own voice, and to sort of take that into the sphere of a more formal film recital was an idea that was really exciting to me. So yeah, I'm essentially my own vocal chamber ensemble, which has been a really exciting process. And having grown up singing in choirs, that was something that was really a process that was really special to me as well, and brought back a lot of those memories. So it is essentially a solo voice film recital, but in layering that one voice over itself in various bits of repertoire that are intended for multiple voices, it becomes something sort of entirely different. And I'm curious to hear how people respond to hearing the same voice sort of layered over itself, as well as solo voice repertoire, just with sort of me singing alone. It's sort of an interesting context, I suppose, to have both of those sorts of styles with just one voice.
And the trill of the wind.
So the film and video aspect of this project, of this film recital, was really important to me, and is again a bit of a departure from the kinds of filmed concerts that I've been part of so far, whether that is sort of filmed recital or just live straight performances. I haven't had much of an opportunity to sort of be involved in a video art type project as well. I have been involved in sort of providing soundtrack sometimes for this sorts of work. Last year I was involved in creating or contributing to a soundtrack that for a new video art piece that was aired on Opera Vision, but I've not ever had any creative input in this kind of element. And so that has been really, really fun to team up with the amazing Fable Arts crew, who are so experienced and creative when it comes to creating video art. So thank you, Daniel and Vic, because it's been really awesome to work with both of you with the video art element. So everything on the program that is a multi-tracked vocal ensemble work using just one voice is essentially a soundtrack to a visual experience of some kind. And that's interspersed with performance footage of actual solo voice works. And I've always been really interested in interdisciplinary performances, especially the relationship between film and video and music. So this is sort of a really interesting and exciting element of the project for me, because it's a new experience for me as well to bring that element into it. And I would hope that it will allow the audience to experience certain works in a slightly different way, rather than just seeing, potentially a screen of floating faces or just the repertoire that is filmed footage of me singing by myself. It sort of creates a film out of it in the true sense of the word, and sort of creates a whole other layer artistically to what is essentially a music concert, but it's something else entirely. So it really has been a true collaboration in that sense, between you guys, amazing video artists at Fable Arts, and creating a sort of soundtrack video world to go with it. So contemporary music is a really important part of my life, of my musical life. And I suppose being the daughter of a composer has had a huge impact on me since childhood. Specifically also with the music in this particular project. I was actually part of the world premiere of Tracks and Traces, this treble voice song cycle that was written by Brett in 2002. And I remember performing it. I think I was 11, and I performed it with the Gondwana Voices, the Australian children's choir for whom it was written. And that was one of the first sort of contemporary pieces that I was exposed to during my time in the children's choir, but we performed a lot of other Australian contemporary works then as well. And I've sort of carried that beyond my children's choir days, beyond studying. I've always found it really, really invigorating to present contemporary music, but especially to sort of give a spotlight to Australian contemporary music, because that was such an important part of my upbringing. And we have so much amazing Australian contemporary music as well. So it seemed like a wonderful opportunity to sort of shine a bit of a light on that area of repertoire that means so much to me. Obviously through the works by Brett, but also we have an amazing work by the young Sydney-based composer Alice Chance, and also Andrew Ford as well, who's quite a legend in the Australian music scene. He's also a musicologist, and he has started writing some wonderful songs through lockdown, intended for small groups or voice alone. So that also kind of tied in really perfectly with the whole ethos of this project. And we also have a contemporary work by the British composer Tansy Davies, who I've looked up to for a really long time and has a wonderful way with writing for voice. So what strikes me, I guess, about all of these contemporary works is how different they all are, and also what similarities one can then orally draw to the older repertoire that's on the program as well. We have something by Debussy, we have an old Scottish folk song, we have a work by Hildegard von Bingen, and more recently we've got a piece by Morton Feldman as well. And I find it really exciting and interesting to sort of to hear the differences, but also more importantly, perhaps the similarities between style, between vocal writing, spanning the centuries. And I suppose there's something about solo voice, about the voice alone, that feels incredibly ancient somehow. It's sort of the beginning of music in a way. And that I wanted to sort of tap into that as well a little bit, which is why I've incorporated a beautiful chant by Hildegard von Bingen to sort of connect all of these contemporary works to really early work for solo voice, and to sort of hear and feel the similarities in there as well. The voice alone is sort of like a bit of an urtext for music, if you like. So that was a really exciting element of programming this project, to combine old and new, but to really sort of especially sort of hold up contemporary music, something that is just so important to me. And I hope it will resonate with the audience as well. There are so many different sort of stylistic approaches, even just within the contemporary music alone. And I think that sort of makes for really interesting and riveting listening, for me anyway. I just want them to enjoy this music. I just want them to enjoy the different sound world that each composer brings, how differently they've approached how to write for voice, and also beyond that, how the voice changes, how the vocal production or performance sort of alters depending on what the composer has asked the voice to do. So sort of specifically, you can hear quite a change in stylistic performance from me when I'm doing sort of choral multi-tracking, as opposed to when I'm sort of singing solo by myself. There's a slight sort of stylistic alteration between the two styles there. So I would hope that the audience would enjoy the process of hearing those similarities and differences. And I would hope that they would, on a purely bass musical level, be able to draw a lot from that. And I also would hope that the audience can use this film recital as a bit of a place of reflection, perhaps for them as well, how they're feeling after the last crazy year and a half. I wanted to essentially create a calm space of reflection, and of maybe to give the audience a bit of a sense of feeling like they are also alone with themselves and with their own voice, and consider what that means to them as well, the relationship between person and voice, whether you're a singer or not, that is a huge part of your identity. And for me, that's been one of the most eye-opening and daunting, but also beautiful experiences of the past year and a half, is getting to know my own voice as an instrument alone. And I would invite the audience to explore that as well, whatever that may mean to them. So I hope that this film recital can perhaps be a bit of a conduit to create that space to sort of reflect and think about your relationship with your voice. Thank you so much for watching this interview, and I hope you can join us for Four White Walls, my upcoming collaboration with Fable Arts. You can find out about the program and all about the project by going to fable-arts.com. On that website, you'll also find an opportunity to donate to the project if you'd like to contribute to this wonderful organization who are doing so much to support young musicians and contemporary music as well. And I would just like to thank all of you for your interest in this project. And I'd also like to extend a thanks to the Nicholas Boas Trust for supporting this project as well. Thank you so much and enjoy Four White Walls.